Hey y'all, I'm so very excited to be here with you all for Women Tech Makers virtual event. This is my third year participating in Women Tech Makers, and I am so honored that I was able to do this for Montreal for the very first time. And I was very much looking forward to participating and visiting Montreal because I love Canada, and I was actually just there before this coronavirus crisis had happened. So I was really looking forward to being there, but due to my own health and safety, I'm really glad that we were able to still make this happen as a virtual event. And I'm so grateful and so honored to participate in it. And hopefully, what I'm going to share with you over these next few minutes will be of value to you. When I created this talk in 2018, it was essentially birthed out of my experience navigating my own career and journey across technology. And the two most helpful things that I believed helped me navigate was having grit and gratitude. But when we think about everything that's going on right now during a real life health crisis globally, it's more important than ever to have these two skills. It's not just a soft skill to have, it's an essential life skill to have right now. Being able to have grit and gratitude will not only help, to prepare you and propel you through some of your professional obstacles and barriers, but also through your personal ones that we're all facing right now. So really happy to be sharing this, and bear with me because this is my very first time doing this keynote as a Zoom presentation. So yeah, I'm going to be clicking stuff and looking random into the camera or away from the camera. And yes, I do have a cough because I've had corona-like symptoms for the last 7 days. So I'm really grateful that I'm in quarantine and still able to share with you all, but via social distancing. So let's go. Yeah, that was a real cough. So yes. All right. So, a bit about me. My name is TeLisa. I am the founder and chief technology officer at a startup called Flytechnista. We are a mobile app and we provide curated education, employment, and entrepreneurship resources and opportunities for women and girls across technology. Um, I've been doing this since 2015. This was birthed out of my own experience navigating my 22-year academic and career journey across technology, where it was very different in 1998. There was limited resources and opportunities, whereas today there are ample, yet it can be overwhelming to navigate and sift through what's the best options for you. So yeah, I created a startup that does that. More about me, I'm a Boston native. I am here in Boston right now where the pandemic is semi-peaceful. Like, people still have food and water, so we're saying we're still working. Our city kind of just shut down, so you're not going to see as much people outside, which is a good thing because people really need to be taking this social distancing very seriously. And I think for the most part a lot of people are, because I haven't even seen cars driving like out my window. But also, I've had many lives and I've had many roles and I've worked in many industries. So um, obviously when you work in technology or navigate in technology for 20 plus years, you're going to do a lot of different things, and I've done a lot of different things. So hopefully in this presentation I'm not going to just be talking at you and with no kinds of experience and background. These are all birthed out of actual real life experience and education. And clearly I'm still a Game of Thrones fan, and I always rule from the Iron Throne, but with compassion, always. So more about me. I am deeply passionate about empowering women, and before it was a fem trend, this is how my company was birthed. Like, because of I've always been a connector. I've always wanted to make sure that women have opportunities, women have access to opportunities, women have access to resources. Not just women, it's mostly been people. I've always been a connector like that. But my business was birthed out of my background of in my desire to connect people to just various different things. So I build inclusive communities and I slay patriarchy pretty much daily. So that's what else I do when I'm not working on our app. And I'm deeply in like invested and committed about empowering the next generation of leaders, and that means young people, youth, and especially girls. So that's what else I do, because navigating my journey wasn't always easy, especially without mentorship or guidance or sponsorship at the time. So I make sure that I'm that for a lot of different people. And more about me, I don't wear glass slippers. I roundhouse kick glass ceilings. And that was a slogan that I created for myself, birthed out of a branding workshop that I did years ago at an event. And I had no idea that it was going to, propel me and inspire so many people whenever I share it. And it was basically birthed out of my background as when I was 6 years old, I told my mom that I wanted to be a breakdancing astronaut, DJ as well. And she said, "Yeah, girl, you can do that. You can be that." And I mean, her encouragement and support, I still carry that confidence with me to this day, because, nobody ever says that they make it in their life because people believed in them too much and gave them too much encouragement. But that definitely was the foundation of confidence that I built my career and my life on, from her encouraging me at that young age. So yes, I was a dancer and I had a lot of energy. My dad enrolled me in dance class, and that set me on the trajectory to becoming a breakdancing astronaut DJ. And the rest I had to figure out on my own. I really wanted to do karate, but he thought I was going to get kicked in the face. Years later, now I kick people in the face because I do karate. But that's pretty much how my slogan came about. And roundhouse kicks are one of the 50 kicks that I've actually been able to successfully do. And it was one of the first ones that I've mastered. So that became my slogan, and the glass ceiling is my target. And that's why I say that. Pretty much I solve problems and create solutions with technology, and I've used my technology skills to build our future. With great power comes great responsibility, but also with a wealth of knowledge, it will make you invaluable as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as a mentor, as a teacher. So it's really important that when you develop your skill sets, that you don't have to continue doing one thing for your entire tech journey or your entire tech career or your entire tech education. You can navigate better if you know a variety of things. And when you do navigate, you'll learn more things as you continue to grow and expand throughout your journey. For me, I've done everything from products to robotics, wearables, fintech solutions, creative solutions, kiosk, 3D, VR, AR stickers. I mean, I've had a really lengthy career. I've built 10 businesses and two nonprofits with my technical and digital skills since 2005. I've coded more than 300 plus products and tech-enabled solutions, and I did all of this while navigating as a classically trained visual and fine artist. So I only entered into this space because of that background, which I will be sharing in a bit. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for enrolling into the Boston Arts Academy. So the year is 1998. I wrote my very first lines of code as a high school freshman. I had no idea that 22 years later that I was going to be a technologist working in technology, building tech-enabled products and solutions. Had no idea at all that this was a future or a possibility for me. And especially with the barriers that I had to overcome at the time, which was one, not having access to a proper CS or technical education. Because remember, this is 1998. It's not that there's no communities, there's no girls who code, women coding. There are women coding, but there's just not groups of these things happening that was made available, should I say, for the masses, and definitely not in virtual spaces yet. And also, I didn't own a computer, so that was my second barrier. So no access to technical education or mentorship or role models. And then two, no access to the technology to actually do it. So basically, I wrote my first lines of code only because I enrolled in an elective when I was in high school where we needed to put we did some digital art, and I needed to create an online portfolio. Now, this was a whole task back in 1998. There was no Behance, there was no drag and drop, there's no Wix. Like, everyone is making everything from scratch. And this is why I wrote my very first lines of code, because Yahoo had a templated uh, community called GeoCities, and GeoCities is where I was trying to put my portfolio. Now, the templated options that was available in 1998, remember, the internet was the wild, wild west. Things was hideous. Things was not functional and beautiful and designed like how things are right now, right? So all I wanted to do was not have a lime green background with yellow text, and I didn't know how to do that. So I go into an AOL chat room and I ask, I send out a question. Now, this is not a tech chat room. This is just a regular chat room where people are sharing everything from recipes to animated GIFs to like all kinds of random things, photos, books, PDFs. I mean, it was not a designated space to learn coding or to teach coding, yet I was able to put out a question and get feedback and then get the answers that I needed. So it brought me to, I was told that I was going to need to learn two programming languages, and at the time it was HTML and CSS. So later that day after school, I went to Barnes and Noble, a bookstore, and I sat there for hours and hours hand copying lines and lines of code from the book, because there was no way else that I could learn or would be able to learn how to do this. And also, I couldn't afford to buy the book. Remember, I'm a teenager, I'm in high school. There's no way that I have any amount of dollars to pay $48 or $50 or whatever the book cost at the time to, to be able to teach myself this. So if it wasn't for me being determined, disciplined, and diligent, I wouldn't have been able to do all that I was able to do after this experience. So basically, I took the code back to school, practiced it on my school's computer, and it worked. And my mind was blown. And then the next thing I know, I'm doing this on a daily and a consistent basis. And by my diligence and my determination, I was able to teach myself 6 programming languages in just 1.5 years. So that propelled me to navigating my academic journey, but it still didn't give me the confidence to believe that now I should study CS. I had no idea what to do with my technical or my digital skills. I just thought, I'm a creative and an artist and I know how to code. I'm not thinking now I'm supposed to work at NASA or at Texas Instruments. Like, what do I do with these skills that I have? It wasn't really fully clear to me that I could leverage these skills to make money, that someone would pay me to do this, that this is a career opportunity. I'm just thinking that this is an extension of my creativity. So I went from creating in a 3D space to in a virtual space. So I had no idea that this was going to be my future 22 years later. So it inspired me to navigate my education journey, at least across technology, which brought me to a lot of in-person institutions and online institutions. And I started my online learning journey back in 2012, and I was not disciplined as a student. Like, my assignments were horrible, my collaboration efforts were horrible, and I failed miserably my very first online course. But it inspired me to put better structures in place to support me, and those structures were I had to create a schedule for myself, and I had to develop tools to engage with my classmates online. So whether that be through email, through video, through chat and instant messenger, like, I had to be really innovative of how I was going to engage with my class, my professors, and actually get our work done. So this is back in 2012. We didn't have all these amazing resources like Google Hangouts and Zoom right now. I was able to navigate my academic journey and continue being a lifelong learner. And if it hadn't been for me investing in myself in this way, I wouldn't have been able to navigate to these incredible and cool companies that I've worked with after. So I've left a lot of companies off this slide, clearly the toxic ones or the sexist ones or the racist ones. But these were really good experiences that I had. And if it wasn't for me reinvesting in myself to learn new skill sets and develop new essential skills for myself, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work with and work at some of these amazing spaces, and then also navigate to these amazing places in spite of the barriers and the obstacles that I've faced throughout my professional and academic journey. I was able to push on and push through with perseverance and determination and get to incredible places, from Windsor Castle to the United Nations and the embassy and the White House, and several incredible and unimaginable spaces I wouldn't even believe if you told me 22 years ago that I would be able to be at. And none of that would have happened if it wasn't for a few things in my career. So it's easy to say, I've learned this, I've done all this, and it was easy. And no, that's not how I got here. I did not get here because things were easy. I got here because I just never quit. And this is a just never quit moment. So I was well over 8 years into my career. I was at senior level, but still stuck in junior level roles, denied advancement opportunities after advancement opportunities, leadership opportunities, promotion after promotion, at company after company. Now, can you say discouraging AF, right? Really, really discouraging. And you can feel stuck, you can feel limited, and you can feel not have imposter syndrome, but you cannot feel worthy for the opportunities that do present themselves to you, or the ones that you want to present yourself to, because of when that it does chip away at your spirit. But for me, I had to reinvest and revisit why I felt the way that I felt. So, fast forward with time and experience, I can look back at this moment that I had in my professional career and share with you some of the positive outcomes that happened as a result of it. So here's the very first thing. So I'm working at a startup a little bit over a year. I was, from the feedback that I received from my managers and my colleagues in upper level management, I was killing it. I was like, yes, like I'm going to be finally in alignment for the promotion, for the salary increase, for the job well done. Like that's all we ever really want in our career, is to hear that we've made an impact, that we can make money, that we can make a difference, right? So that didn't happen. Basically, I went to my manager and I asked if I could get a raise because of the stellar feedback and the reviews that I was receiving. And I was told that the company didn't have the money to give me what I was worth. And, because I've been at the company and I've been killing it, I was really believing that this was real. I'm thinking, when the time is right, I will be first in line for this opportunity when it presents itself. And, they will definitely keep me in mind because, I mean, if not me, then who, right? And then I also asked for, if not a raise, then a title promotion. And I was told that we can revisit it at a later time by my manager. So what happened was, 3 weeks later, I was sending a fax to a client, and then there was a paper left on the fax machine. Now, this isn't something that's unusual. When you work in a small office and everyone is sending stuff, someone is going to leave something, and then you just return it and you leave it on their desk. So I pick up the paper, I turn it over to see who it belongs to, but then after further scanning, I realize that it's an offer letter to a young man, paying him 3 times more than what I was making, offering him 3 times more than what I was making, and also offering him the opportunity to be my manager. Now, can you say livid? I was livid. I blacked out, actually. So I do remember that I went to the bathroom. I perhaps called my mother, and then I put together my belongings and communicated to my team that I needed to leave for the day. And, no, it wasn't alarming to anyone. But the one thing that I do remember is, as a woman, I was, even in my moment of rage and anger and frustration, I remembered that I had to compose myself, because we know that when you are a woman and you show emotion and you show frustration, you're often labeled as emotional, even if it's in a situation that is warranted, even if it's in a situation that is valid, even if it's in a situation where you are justified to feel the way that you feel. However, when we express that and communicate that, we can then be labeled as weak or emotional or all of these other negative things. So what I chose to do during this time was collect myself, collect my feelings, and conceal them, even though I was burning inside of rage. One, because as an intersectional woman, meaning a woman of color, I did not want to be labeled as an angry Black lady. So I gathered my belongings, I gathered myself, and then later that evening, I communicated to my team that I was resigning and would not be returning. Now, a lot of things happened as a result of this, but I'm so glad that I was able to step back and look at the problem, because this was a problem that I kept facing throughout my career at company after company. No matter what the role was, I kept being met with this fate of not being able to be promoted, not being able to advance in my career, not being able to get the salary that I wanted or negotiated for. And basically, I was able to, because I was feeling stuck, I started to think of a framework that could help me navigate my professional career. And this is basically what happened for me. So I want to share this framework with you all because I can attest to not just having it work for me in my professional life, but my personal life has been super game changing. And being able to identify the problem and the action steps that we need to take to resolve or fix the problem, we can better plan and act rather than react. And we know, especially right now, we don't want to be in a reactive state, whether our job is at jeopardy, our livelihood is at jeopardy. There are ways that we can actually step back and go through the framework and approach what are our barriers and our obstacles and how to best navigate through that. So this is the framework that I've developed as an engineer. I realize like we're always troubleshooting when there's something wrong within our code. Why can't I apply this to my life? How can I not use the same steps to see how I can fix that? So basically this is where I started at, is identify what the problem is. The problem at the time was I couldn't advance in my career. Where does this problem come from? Is it internal to me? Was it external to me? If it was something that was internal to me, what can I do to make myself become more promotable? So did that mean that I need to seek leadership coaching, skill building, advocacy, or other opportunities for myself? So if this is something internal to me, is it a mindset? Is it an obstacle? Is it behavior? Is it that I lack in confidence, or that I lack in opportunity? Was it my environment? So when you separate these things out, you're able to walk through what the problem is. So for example, we can even use this, what's currently happening right now. Say that your job is at jeopardy and you're trying to figure out what are the next steps that you need to do to make yourself more desirable, and during these times of crisis and employment crises, right? So what you're going to want to do is figure out what the problem is. The problem is maybe you lack digital or technical skills to get the job that you need, or maybe it's the environment that you're in that doesn't allow for you working remote, or maybe it is that you just want to navigate to something totally different. Maybe you want to become a blockchain developer. So working through this framework will better help you to prepare, plan, and extract the issues that you're currently facing. So I've done this framework in helping me to advance in my career, and clearly it has worked, because I wouldn't have been able to navigate to where I am now if I didn't put these things in place with my mindset. But the very two things that help me significantly are, is having grit. So what I define grit is, clearly I would not be here today if I did not possess grit, because grit has carried me through not just my personal life, but my professional life as well. And every opportunity that I've had, or every time that I've had to demonstrate grit in my life has presented me with an opportunity to grow. So, sorry. My definition of grit is, things are not easy and I'm not always happy or confident, but I just never give up. So grit is having the determination and the perseverance to push on and push through regardless of pushback. And, in your life, it doesn't matter if you're senior, junior, entry level, you're always going to have some kind of pushback in your life. It doesn't matter if it's at work, if it's at home, if it's in our interpersonal relationships. Having the ability to have grit will be able to carry you throughout these obstacles and barriers and blockages in your life. So, very important. And the second thing is how you show up and become and bring your best self. I can say that it starts with your mindset. If you reframe your doubt, you will change your outcome. The ability to shift your mindset from victim to victorious, especially right now, is the epitome of having grit. Like, there's no way that you can master everything outwardly if you don't master this first. So, how do you reframe your doubt? You got to change your language. So, whether that means changing your language from I can't do anything right to I can do these things right, or whether it's no one ever helps me to I'm really helpful at these things with people. So, sorry, your ability to do that will shift your actual experience and your reality. So be mindful of these tips and strategies. You can complain about not having opportunities, or you can seek them and create them for yourself. And instead of saying that you can't figure something out, change your language around I'm able to find the help to find the solutions that I need at least. So that really helps for me and that really works for me as well. And gratitude. Gratitude is such an essential skill to have. It's not just my definition of gratitude is not I have because I'm grateful, is actually I'm grateful because I have. And when you have that mentality continually with you, and you reside in that energy and that mentality, you allow for more opportunities to present themselves to you because, it's easy to be grateful when you have things. When you're really flexing your gratitude muscle, is when you have limited or when you don't have at all. But if you focus on it within a lack mentality, you'll never be able to attract the things that you're desiring. So that's a simple solution that you can use. And then also, sorry, this should not be reframing your doubt, but it should be your gratitude gem. Now, this is the first glitches that happen when you're, presenting for the first time over Zoom. But anywho, we're going to proceed on. This is called your gratitude gem, and I started doing my own gratitude gem to build my gratitude muscle. And it's not going to be always easy for you to be grateful or to see the good in things, but I had to learn how to build my gratitude muscles, and these are some of the things and practices that have helped me, and you can start using them today. So in 2009 I started like a gratitude, a part of a gratitude challenge that this woman was doing via email. By 2012, somebody was doing one on Instagram, and I participated in that. And then when I really started my gratitude journal back in 2015, I was lacking so much things that I felt that I didn't have to be grateful for. But by me writing 3 things down in the morning, 3 things down in the evening, this helped me to build my gratitude up and my gratitude muscle. And yes, there were days that I repeated things, but then as I continued to work that muscle, things that I didn't even realize that I had to be grateful for, or things that I didn't even know that was in me, they started to come to me just naturally. The second thing I do is practice daily affirmation. So you become what you speak and what you believe. So it's very important to find something that's in alignment with where you want to be, whether that be in your present or in your future. Align yourself with positive reaffirming words that can do that. And also maintain an abundance mentality. Like if you act or think lack, that's what you'll attract, okay? So, and also you want to allow good things to come into your life, because it's one thing to just have these positive affirmations, but if you don't really believe it and you don't allow it to come into your life, it won't come into your life. The last thing that I do is I pay it forward. I pay it forward through mentorship. I pay it forward through opportunities for other people. Being able to do that has allowed me to build my own gratitude and my gratitude gym. And then I always share and I celebrate my personal wins and other wins around me. Being able to do that will help you, you know, be grateful in your gratitude gym. So, um, lastly, these are some takeaways that I think will help you. Don't allow yourself to stay stuck in negative thoughts. Debug with the 4 R's. You need to reflect, resolve, remove, and then reframe the things that you're going through. That's how you will debug some of the issues within your life. And remember that every grit opportunity is a growth opportunity, and practice gratitude daily. So the last thing I want to leave you with is someone might have more advantage than you, but you can have more determination than them and get further than they ever could. And this is this saying is more true now than it was when I wrote this years and years ago, and carried this belief with me. But think of it right now. We're in a time of hardship. We're in a time of crisis. We're in a time where everything that you're doing today can determine what your future will look like. And being mindful of that will help you navigate to better opportunities for yourself. So how you choose to show up for yourself during this time, how you choose to reinvest in yourself during this time, how you choose to build yourself up during this time will determine what our future is going to look like. So really, really be mindful of that. It doesn't matter what you was before this happened, what kind of career path you had, what kind of role you was in. How you show up for yourself right now with grit and gratitude will really, really determine your outcome and your ability to make it through difficult times, not just professionally, but personally in your life. And that being said, I want to thank you all for your time and attention. I'm sorry that this was so bumpy and rough and not as smooth as I normally deliver this keynote, but I wanted to share these resources and strategies with you to help you better prepare and navigate your academic or your professional journeys, because having grit, having gratitude is not just a soft skill set. It's an essential skill set to have, and you can cultivate and develop and really build a sense of resilience if you have these two things, and be unstoppable. Like if I was in a movie as a monster, and I often say this in this keynote, I would be the killing monster because I just never quit. And having grit and gratitude will help you to have that kind of determination and fierceness inside of you that you will just never quit. Sending you all so much love, encouragement, and prosperity, productivity, and positivity during these times. Thank you.